Welcome to Midlife Unlimited, the podcast for women who want more. I'm your host, Kate Porter, the Midlife Metamorphosis Coach, and I'm delighted to be catching up because we delayed our live to celebrate International Women's Day. The wonderful Mary Gregory, executive coach and author and host of She Leads Collective podcast, who was my back in January episode 65 guest, to talk about and give insights and reflections on our episode, How to Not Take Yourself Too Seriously, that's available to download and listen to wherever you get your podcasts. So welcome, Mary. It is wonderful to have you here to celebrate us, to celebrate International Women's Day, and to not take ourselves too blinking seriously.
Very good. Yes, it's nice to be here. Thank you so much for having me back.
And my absolute pleasure. Now, one of the most freeing things of my own, and it's not all about me, but one of my own thing about my own midlife metamorphosis was that amazing feeling when you suddenly have that ability to laugh at yourself, to think my foibles and failures just make me who I am, and I'm not going to kowtow to anyone else. I'm not going to limit myself. I'm not going to worry about what John or Jane or anyone, well, to a certain extent, but it is freeing. But there are pros and cons of using humour, aren't there, when we come down to that? And we're going to be talking about on a business way, in personal situations as well. But humour is a very, very powerful tool, isn't it? And I think it lies at the very essence of being human as well.
It absolutely is. And it's a very powerful tool in terms of it helps break the ice. It
Yeah.
helps people connect with each other. And also, I think about, we talked, I think before, about I can be quite self-depreciating at times. And that makes you human. And it means that you're able to build a connection with other people and also demonstrate you're able to empathize with them and all that sort of stuff. But we also, we were just reflecting earlier, you've got to be careful you don't self-depreciate to the point that you're putting yourself right down and making yourself smaller. So it's finding that, it's, I suppose, like most things in life, isn't it? It's finding that fine balance of loosening it up, because when you tell a dirty on yourself, you are creating a greater connection with other people.
You say it's like levitas and gravitas, and
yes.
especially in business, but very much so in personal life, I think as well. And particularly now that so much of our personal life and business life are intertwined with whether it be networking events or just social events when you don't know everyone there. And as you say, humour is great, and I don't just mean rubbish knock jokes, but humour is great for breaking the ice.
Yes.
But you say it's that temptation sometimes to perhaps act the fool that can lead to people not quite getting you, and we have to be quite careful as well if we do resort to humour, especially in today's blinking climate where you've got to be so careful who you say and what you say it to. Think twice before dropping that joke into a conversation, maybe.
Well, absolutely. And I think, we've got to be careful, be mindful of the context.
Yeah.
So there are different types of humour, and the different situations that you might use that humour in. And different people as well, respect different people. Some people are really okay with a bit of, Mickey taking or whatever, and a bit of fun and laughter. Other people are less comfortable with it. So it's about making sure you read the room and read the people that you're with as to what would work. I mean, I can think of a time I told a joke to my then CEO, and halfway through the joke, I realised it was completely inappropriate.
Yeah.
So we kind of detailed that halfway through, as he looked a bit pale around the gills. But yes, so there it is about noticing. And that, so that's an example now of me being self-depreciating. But I think, I'm quite happy to own that I made that mistake, and it's made me be much more mindful of the context and who I might be sharing a joke with.
Well, that's it. I always say it's not a mistake, it's a misstep. And as long as you learn from making that misstep and you realise that maybe not that way, but that way. Because, I don't know, alternative title for our episode could have been, and rather actually, How to Get Over Yourself, because that is the title of your book as well, isn't it?
So it is. Well, my book is all about ego, get over yourself and lead, because what holds us back consistently is our ego. Because as human beings, we want to look good. We don't want to look daft or foolish. We want to make sure we do things properly, and we're plagued by social anxiety. Even though we might not always be in touch with it, we are guided by how much we're scanning for opportunity, not so much opportunities, but situations that might cause us to do the wrong thing or whatever. Not everybody is like that. Some people are really not in touch with that, and they might be, the sort of people that you might call bull in the china shop type people. But for many people, we are looking out for where might we upset somebody, or where might we want to make sure we look good and present ourselves in a positive light. And it's our ego whenever there's anxiety or fear around, that's when our ego gets activated.
It is that, I can say, it's that kind of temptation to desperately want to fit in, to say, not stick your head above the parapet. But then sometimes, if you really want to make that impact, whether that's personally, whether there's might be someone you fancy that you want to attract their attention, or a potential friendship that you think, no, I feel a real resonance here, I'm going to make that extra step. But sometimes we can think, no, and as we say, the shoulds kick in.
Yeah.
But in other things as well, they say, the creative types, the ones that make the impact and make the difference, are the ones that dare to be loud, not obnoxious, but to to shake things up.
I think there's different types of loudness.
Yeah.
So you think about some of the great I'm thinking about Freddie Mercury. You think about the great entertainers who can just completely lose all inhibition. And I should imagine when he was out there on the stage giving it his all, he was in the flow. Yeah, he was in the flow. And I would imagine, maybe not all the time, because ego is in place so much of the time, but I should imagine there would be moments he would be out there and he would be ego-less because he's just giving it his all. And there's something there about that's when we're really getting over ourselves, is when we're able to express ourselves authentically, without fear of reprimand or saying the wrong thing, but also without wanting to just prove ourselves that we're right and everyone else is wrong, because that's also a sign of your ego. So there's like overinflated and underinflated ego, and the overinflated is the loud, noisy one that dominates and wants everyone else to shut up. And the underinflated is the one that is the part of ourselves that is much more, I better not say anything because I'm going to upset people.
Oh, it's that whole, isn't it? I've been seeing it quite a lot. I don't know if it's an actual thing, but like the Goldilocks paradox. Are we too hot? Are we too cold?
Yeah.
What is just right? Yeah, finding it.
Well, and I would say, if the risk is that we might overanalyze and, guilty, paralysis by analysis or whatever.
Yes.
So you've got to, at some point, just be yourself and connect with what's important for you. And there are certain things we can do that help us do that. First of all, the more present we are, the more likely we are to be out of ego. So if we are in the present moment, then it's less likely that we'll be caught up by our egos, which is why having really good strategies for taking care of ourselves, meditation, mindfulness, whatever it is, to help us manage our state and get calm and present is really, really helpful. So when we're fully present, we're less likely to be in ego, because ego is all about the past. It's all about the future. So it's, not wanting to do what we did in the past because that was a hard lesson or whatever, but also worrying about what might happen in the future. So that's all ego based. The other thing is, if we're clear with people about what we expect and what we need, what in the coaching world, you'll know this, in the coaching world, we call a contract. The more we've got a contract in place, again, the easier it is to stay in that ego-less space and to have a laugh and a joke, because, part of being human is that we will be humorous, but because we're clear around how we are with each other and what our relationship is about and what we need from each other, it makes it much less likely that we'll get into a difficult situation or a game, as we might call it. So there are strategies for managing our ego. And part of it is not taking yourself too seriously, because if you are, then that's, again, if you're kind of worrying about what you're going to look like, or, why did they look at me like that? Or why did they say it in that voice tone? That is immediately your ego activated. And you just got to get back in touch with what exactly is so here, get in touch with reality the situation in the here and now.
You've just given me a wonderful segue. Thank you so much for that, because in our episode, we talked just about the wonderful Freddie on stage, but you have been taking to the stage yourself, and you've been at it again since we actually recorded our episode.
I have, yes.
With the wonderful Lynn Parker.
Yes.
Now, for those that don't know, tell us all about it, because it's something that I've been harbouring a little. I'm going to have to join you at the next one or the one after.
I think you definitely are. You definitely are. So Lynn Parker
standing
is
up.
Amazing woman who set up 24 years. I just read on LinkedIn actually today. Wow. She's been doing this for 24 years. 24 years ago, she set up a CIC called Funny Women. And she set it up because a man said to her, women aren't funny. So you can imagine, red rag to a bull. So she got into positive action and set up Funny Women. And it's the organization is designed to support women and empower them to get into comedy and get onto the comedy circuits. And on the back of that, she also set up the Funny Women Awards, which has, I went to the launch last year, and the amount of talent on that stage that you might not have realized had gone through the Funny Women support network and everything, and the things that they help people with. Anyway, they run various workshops at different times of the year. And they run 2 stand-up to stand-out workshops, one in the summer and one in the winter. And I just went to the winter one in February. And I went along because this is my 3rd time. So I turned up, and I thought, Lynn must think I'm some kind of, I don't know, what's the word? I'm not a stalker. But anyway, I keep turning up at these
number
things.
One fan.
Yeah, yes. I'm her number 1 fan. But I had 2 colleagues going as well. So I thought I want to go along and support them. And to be honest, when I got there, I thought, what on earth am I going to get from today? Because it's my 3rd time. But every time she runs one of these workshops, she has different comedians in to take us through various sessions, usually a session about loosening up and a bit of improv. And then we'll have another session with somebody about writing and how to make your, write for comedy, basically.
How to find you funny. Yeah.
How to find you funny. Yes, very good. And she had 2 prize winners from her Funny Women Awards this time who were helping up. They were brilliant. And one of them got us doing improv, but doing it silently. We had to look at a chair and pretend this chair was something and communicate that through to the audience through the way we related to the chair and connected it to, So mine, I pretended it was a huge, giant chocolate cake. So you can imagine that, and I desperately, I'm a chocoholic. I desperately wanted to eat it. So it's like using the eye contact with the audience. Dare I just take a little taste, and it kind of worked its way around until eventually I just ate the whole blooming cake, So it was all done, but it was all done non-verbally. So that is massively stretching. And it's massively stretching to do in front of an audience. Personally, some people might think that's really easy. For me, it was stretching. No. But it was great. It was also, once you'd kind of done it, it was good. It was fun to experiment with it. And it's a case of losing your inhibitions and losing your ego. I had to get over myself to do it. Because if I'm honest, part of me is sitting here thinking, oh, I don't know that I really want to go up there and do this, And that was definitely my ego holding me back.
You've just given me that would be a really, really good topic for a Midlife Unlimited episode, and maybe on one of your podcast episodes as well. The power of body language and eye contact, and the whole non-verbal communication, again, both in business and personally, because it plays such a huge part.
Huge part.
We can be giving off signals that we don't even know about.
I know. Well, 55% of our communication is down to our body language. I think 38% is the tone of voice we use and the pace that we use, and 7% is the words. I think that adds to 100. I'm not quite sure, but that's more or less the balance. So words, we might think, well, I've told you because I've said the words, but we might have been communicating a completely different message by our tone of voice or by our body language.
Yeah. And again, as you were saying earlier about gravitas versus levitas, by injecting perhaps some levitas into the way we say something. I mean, we talked about the whole HR, is it good news, good news, or however you address it. But by taking a sentence that we think is absolutely fine, but when you actually listen back how you actually said it, the tone you used, a little bit of levitas can go a long way
Yes.
to actually imparting the message. Because I know in NLP it's like, no, the communication, the success of what we say isn't in terms of what we say, it's how it is understood by the person we're communicating with.
Yes.
And that is
Yes.
the impact of our communication.
Yes.
And the times we can say something and the person we're speaking to is like, well, that's not how I took it.
Yes.
And it's like,
yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's amazing that we see the world not as it is, but as we are.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, that's another conversation. But HR, am I right in saying, obviously, all your contact details are in the show notes and on the Midlife Unlimited podcast website, where you've got your own guest profile as well. But haven't you got an event that's got an HR link coming up there? Another segue.
Thank you so much, Kate. So I have a She Leads Collective supper club, and we are starting, the first one is happening in April, on April the 29th in Soho, a lovely restaurant, Italian restaurant for those that like Italian restaurant in Soho. And these are going to be quite intimate dinners, actually, where the maximum number of people we can have is 14. And it's going to be a facilitated conversation through the evening. So not only do you get the chance to meet other leaders in the field, but also we're going to have a conversation around how do we make gender equity happen in today's climate, because there's so many challenges around gender equity in organizations, and what's going on in today's climate is not really helping. So that's what the conversation is about. But it's aimed at senior leaders, senior women leaders, HR directors, people and change leaders within medium to large organizations. That's who I'm hoping will come along. And we've got all lined up, got a beautiful, delicious menu lined up. And
that's going to be so impactful, because it's the perfect setting for really good conversations, rather than just being in a room that's noisy. And I don't just mean noisy because it's loud, but there's just so much going on. But to actually have it beautifully curated, really, you're curating.
I'll be curating it. I'll be facilitating the conversation. So obviously we'll be enjoying a nice meal and enjoying each course of that. Tiramisu is on the menu for the desserts.
For the chocolate, I can't say it, chocolate.
There's also chocolate fudge cake as well. So it's definitely a chocoholic's paradise. But no, it's about having that in a safe space. So being able to talk freely about the struggles you may be experiencing and trying to implement a culture of inclusivity in where you work. The idea of having a group is that there'll be people from other organizations who may be able to share their ideas of what's worked for them and all those sorts of things. So that's coming up in April.
Oh, fantastic. I look forward to hearing what comes of that as well, because I imagine that's going to be an amazing springboard. So how can viewers get in contact with you to find out more about that and just to connect with you and work with you?
Okay, so I am on LinkedIn. So that's probably my main platform that I use social media wise. So do connect with me on LinkedIn. I have a weekly newsletter called Lessons in Leadership that goes out every week. I also have a podcast. So do tune into my podcast, which very kind of you to let me mention it on your podcast. It's called the She Leads Collective podcast. And actually, while I'm saying that, I've also got the She Leads Collective group on LinkedIn as well, which everyone is very invited to join. So it's for men and women, not exclusively women, because I'm very interested in the whole notion of allyship. I'm a great believer that we've got to all pull together to enable gender equity and inclusivity and really make it happen. It takes us all pulling together to do that. It's not a them and us type scenario. So that, and then there's my supper club. And you can also find me at marygregory.com, which is my website. So I don't think I've got a landing page up yet for my supper club, but it will be coming up, and I will be sending out I'll be posting about it and putting the link in for Ticket Taylor. And you can sign up to my newsletter on my website as well, and also get a free chapter of my book if you'd like.
Book is on my list for this year. So Wendy, Wendy, I've got to chat with someone called Wendy in a bit. No, Mary is going to be in this book as well. So Midlife Unlimited, the book, is coming this year. As
Fantastic.
is this month my first male guest on Midlife Unlimited, Mary.
Very good.
That
Very
is
good.
rather exciting as well. He was
Yes.
quite excited. So watch this space for that. Come and connect with me. All my details are on the Midlife Unlimited podcast website. The link's here. Drop me a message via YouTube or LinkedIn. Come and find out more about working with me one-to-one and in more, which is my all-in-one, because it's group coaching and one-to-one transformative, can't speak, experience. It's so exciting. I love it. Well, Mary, thank you so much for joining me today to
Well,
catch up. It's been a
thank you for having
pleasure.
me.
Look forward to seeing you soon at a comedy store near us. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful International Women's Day. Whatever hype you're into with it, it's all about just celebrating us, coming together, cheerleading, raising each other up, and just being fabulous. And here's to living Midlife Unlimited. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.